Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of Romantasy Roundtable, a tale of Rick and Rose. My name is Rick, and I'm joined with my Rose.
And Kim.
That's right. Oh, that's usually how it goes. And as always, we would appreciate it if you consider liking this video, wherever you may be. We would always love if you subscribe. It really helps up our channel, whether if you're listening on the audio or the YouTubes, which we're at. We're not in fish form today. And you can always reach out to us at our email at romantasyroundtable@gmail.com or somewhere in whatever comment section you're listening to. So we would always appreciate a like, subscribe, and or comment. I am joined with a singular Rose today because Amanda, we have given the day off. She is out celebrating my New York Knicks championship victory from last night, and we hope that we will find her sometime between now and the next week.
Hopefully she comes back alive. Knicks in 5.
Knicks in 5.
Did you celebrate last night?
I celebrated.
Or even watch the game?
I did watch the game. And as most people are saying, this is something I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. The Knicks winning a championship. Most Knicks, I don't want to say most Knicks fans, but my generation of Knicks fans have never seen a championship. And given what we've gone through, never thought we would.
Yep.
I watched Jalen Brunson's speech at the end, and he basically said, I don't have any words, which is what I think all older-ish Knicks fans feel as well. So the question was, how much money would I spend on merch? And we're working on it right now.
So, have you set yourself a budget?
No.
Or is this just going to be 4 games?
This is
just like I'm doing it.
No. This is, let's see. I'm going to start in 94. So I guess this is 32 years in the making. We've been saving since then. So there is no budget on this.
For all the kids at home, I like to give Rick shit for how much money he spends on his board games.
Yes.
He kickstarts pretty much everything. And whether it's $50 or $500, he's in.
I only backed a $500 game once.
I don't know if I believe that.
I think I only backed a $500 game once. And it wasn't even $500. It was like 6 and change. But it was like a lot. I got a lot. And I ended up selling it all at the end for like $800. But there was more stuff. Basically, I spent like $1,000. I made $800. So I rented the game for $200 for a couple years.
How much are the Final Girls?
That doesn't count because I play those.
Oh, okay. But those aren't that expensive.
No, they're not that expensive. I'd say they're like $200 a season, maybe, and a season comes with 5 games. Okay. So like maybe $200 every year and a half ish.
And you got like 7 of those?
No, that's right now I've got 19 of them.
Crap.
Yeah, I love the game. It's like one of my favorite games.
My God, that's so many. 19 seasons?
No, not 19 seasons. 19 individual episodes. There are 3 seasons fully done. The 4th season is finishing right now. I'm waiting for the last one to come. I think it's going to come in like August. Welcome to my board game and basketball podcast. But that's not why we're here.
It's not why we're here.
We are here. Go ahead, Kim, to talk about part 3 of... This is your job. You go.
Part 3 of Empire of Storms and Tower of... John's Yawn.
So we will be reading... this is our part 3, and we'll be reading... Oh, man, let's figure this out. Tower of Dawn, chapter 19 through... something. Let's see.
Chapter 31.
All right. And then something of Empire Storms. Let's see. Chapter 24 of Empire of Storms. I think also through 31. So there we go. We're finishing at 31 on both books.
Go through 31. Yeah. Yeah, this feels super weird without Amanda. We are down our normal reader and host and I don't know. The person who always has smart things to say.
Yep, so they just have to deal with me for today. With the unsmart things to say.
Okay, Chapter 19, Tower of Dawn. Kale is secretly wiggling his toes like a toddler who just discovered feet after Yrene makes
No,
miraculous on his spine.
Yrene.
What? No, I'm saying how I want to say.
I'm
It's
so
Yrene.
sorry, Jamie. Her name is Yrene.
I'm in the driver's seat today. It's Yrene. But he tells absolutely nobody, including Nesryn, whom he kisses with all the passion of a man returning a library book. Oof. Yrene worked herself into unconsciousness and slept for a day and a half, which Hafiza delivers to Kale with disappointing grandmother energy. He rides to the tour on Teholm's Day. Is that how we're saying that?
Yeah, that seems right.
Looking for her at dawn like a man who absolutely does not have a crush, and they fall right back into bickering after who gets to ask questions first before riding off into Antica together, while Yrene tells herself she is definitely not smiling about it.
I have such weird. We'll get to this later in like parts, whatever 19. However many parts this tandem read is going to be, but like, Aelin and them story is always great, but I really have like this rocky, like at this point in the book, I didn't really care about Kale and Yrene.
I know.
Later on, I don't care about a lead, but then I do. It's like there are so many different parts where I don't care about. It's mostly Tower of Dawn, but it's just weird. It's a weird rocky ride with people I don't like in this book, or I find boring at least.
Yeah, I think actually like this part in particular, just like this whole section that we're talking about today, just feels super slow to me.
Yeah.
It's just like it's the Yrene and Kale are just doing the healing thing together, and yeah, we get a bunch of like Elite and Lorcan being part of the circus troupe, and I just don't fucking care.
Right.
So I'm with you on
It didn't
that.
even really go anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't really go anywhere.
You know.
But we're going to talk about it anyways, so
Mhm.
we're going to keep going. Also, fun fact, we gained 7 followers this week.
Oh, look at that! Hi, new followers.
Yeah, hi, new friends. Please stick with us. Amanda will be back next week, we promise. Chapter 20, Tower of Dawn. Kale tags along on Yrene's healing rounds like a golden retriever who just wants to go outside and watches her heal a dying old man with zero flinching, is clearly doing something to him he is not ready to examine. A patient, absolute girl boss, unhinged timing, we respect her, clocks the tension between them and makes a suggestive comment that sends Yrene into a full-body mortified spiral, while Kale sits on his horse looking insufferably smug. They spend the rest of Teholm's Day wandering Antica together like it's a first date neither of them is calling a first date, sharing carob sweets and debating whether the world can ever be beautiful again. And by the time they part at the palace, there are approximately 47 unspoken feelings hanging in the air.
I could feel it coming in the air tonight. That's later.
Do.
You know, I think you had said it last week, but you know, I'm thinking about what I had just said about like the ebbs and flows of this book. I do wonder if I'd care more if it wasn't a tandem read.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. Like, too much happens in Empire of Storms, and there's just too many characters on that side to not read about them. But like, Kale does deserve his little arc, so it's weird. It's a weirdly weird pair of books.
What was the last book before this?
Queen of Shadows. I always get that one mixed up. It's
Midnight?
Queen of Midnight.
Yeah, okay.
Is that what it was?
Regardless, the book before this, I feel like if I read these in just publication order and had read, the previous book and then Tower of Dawn, Empire of Storms,
Was it
I feel like I would have
Sorry, go ahead.
Airfire. Thank you. But I feel like I would have to read Tower of Dawn and then reread Heir of Fire to like remember all the characters again before getting back into Empire of Storms.
Yeah, that's true.
Chapter 21. Princess Hazar rearranges the seating at the Teholm's Day feast like a chaos agent, so Yrene ends up next to Kale. And then the party transitions into a full opiate smoke and naked dancer situation because apparently the Kagan's kids really let loose when Dad's not home. Under cover of the intoxicating smoke, Yrene delivers critical intel. Erewhon's armies are stretched from the Therian Gap to Rifthold. Ailen is completely unaccounted for, and Hazar wants a location for her spies. So Kale feeds them a misdirection to Skull's Bay, which is basically a suicide mission for anyone who shows up there looking for Ailen. The chapter ends with both of them yanking back from the edge of something very not professional, Yrene fleeing in shame, and Nesryn watching Kale from across the room with a face that says, I know exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how he just threw out Skull's Bay and they're actually there.
Right. He was like, He's like, Ailen would never go back to Skull's Bay because she's got this huge rift with Rolf and he would kill her. And so, sure, we'll send them there. And that's actually, where they're going.
Similarly, nothing. Have you continued reading?
Have what?
Have you continued reading this book?
No.
I don't even think anything comes of that either. Like, he tells them that they're there, but like nothing happens with that. I think they just like have eyes on it, like spies watching, and they report back. Yeah. But it's like it's not like they attack her in Skull's Bay. So I don't know. This book feels like, I think I said it last time, Tower of Dawn feels like a side. It's like a 0.5. You know, it's like a side story.
Yeah, it is a side story. It's a side story that's,
700 pages.
So we love that for us. Okay, chapter 24. We are back in Empire of Storms here. Ailen and Ailen slip out of Ilium at dawn aboard the Windsinger, with Lysandra doing falcon recon from the main mast. Because she decided surveillance was her personality now, and nobody was going to stop her. Sailing towards Skull Bay to find Rolf and his map-tattooed hands, which apparently reveal word key locations, Ailen and Ailen share a rare pretender moment about the Battle of Theralis, where a 14-year-old Ailen fought, and Darrow quietly tried to shield him from the worst of it. Ailen admits she understands why Darrow blocked her from Terrasen, even if she's still going to fight it, and the chapter closes with her touching the amulet of Orinth and feeling its ancient power hum, Find the Lock, which is either a great sign or an absolutely terrible one.
Yeah. Wait. Wait, doesn't she have a conversation with somebody?
Like who? Ailen.
No, but like, do we talk about... Somebody told her to find the lock.
That was in the last section when she was in the temple in Ilium, and it was Brandon who showed up.
Got it.
It was like, go and find the swamp.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
Exactly. Chapter 25.
Mm-hmm.
We are back to our favorite, Manon Blackbeak.
Yay.
Wakes up strapped into Abraxas' saddle somewhere in Oakwald Forest, actively bleeding out and running entirely on spite. Truly her best quality. Erewhon's bloodhound shows up, a glamoured woman who peels back to reveal a horrifying winged creature with giant nostrils, lidless eyes, and black stumped teeth, sent to drag Manon back to her crowned rider duties for the Dark King. Manon fights back with her stomach held together by vibes and stubbornness until Abraxas, gosh darn it, certified girl boss, no notes, says Claude, swoops in, catches her mid-leap, and dive bombs the bloodhound with his poisoned barbed tail on the way out, leaving the creature screaming threats from the forest floor like a villain whose lair just got blown up.
How do you picture the Vogue?
Oh, good question. I generally picture them as like zombie-looking like creatures. Sort of like the undead with like elongated arms and legs. And apparently this one is winged with giant nostrils, lidless eyes, and black stumped teeth.
The Ilkin, these ones... Wait, this isn't an Ilk. Is this an Ilkin? Well, this one is like the Bloodhound one. But like the Ilkin, the new one, the new stronger ones, and this one, I generally picture as like the orcs from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which isn't normally how I would picture an orc. Lord of the Rings orcs are very specific.
They are very specific.
You know, like those. I think those are like the only kind of orcs that look like that. Orcs are usually green. You know,
right?
Like World of Warcraft.
Absolutely.
Those guys, they're like zombie-ish and
they're
pale. You know.
Yeah, I mean they have qualities of the undead also.
Yeah, and they like to eat. Meat's back on the menu.
But I do picture them as humanoid. So even when they talk about these
Yes.
horrifying quote unquote creatures, like I still picture them as being in some way human.
Well, yeah, not the old ones for me. Like, I guess like in Air of Fire, they were less human-ish to me. These Ilkin, the new ones in this one, I
Yeah.
picture a little bit more human-esque. But like the older ones, like I'm going way back to Kane from
Mm-hmm.
the original one. Like even though he was a human, like when he eventually turned, I don't know, I do picture them like how you said, like zombie-ish type of creatures.
Yeah. Well, I know, like, I also think there's like the distinction between like the Volg and then like the Volg creatures.
Mm.
Uh, because, they talk about like there seem to be a broad array of menaces out there that are in some way, shape, or form Volg. Because, yeah, we have seen things that seemed like they were more bloodhoundish and like who knows what the heck Kane was. And then these ones to me, which feel humanoid.
Yeah, good call.
Okay, back to Tower of Dawn in chapter 22. Yrene spends the night in an opiate fueled haze, thinking about Kale's hands and mouth, and ultimately has to take matters into her own hands. SJM said what she said, is what Claude says to us here. She wakes up hollow, unsatisfied, and deeply annoyed about all of it. She shows up at dawn anyway, walks in on Nesryn in his bed, and conducts herself with the internal dignity of someone who is absolutely not devastated, externally offering to brew a contraceptive tonic with the energy of someone folding laundry at a crime scene. Kale insists nothing happened, and Yrene tries to believe him while unpacking her satchel until he spots the wordmark scroll and the Song of Beginning and goes white as a ghost, ordering everything hidden because the lore drop hits hard. 3 kings, a gate, and keys, with Yrene casually noting that if Orcus and Mantix were merely banished rather than destroyed, they could still be waiting somewhere out there.
See, this is my favorite part of Tower of Dawn. I want the lore and stuff like that.
I mean, this is like the 5th time we get this lore. SJM is like, you are never going to forget this because this is going to be repeated to every single new character that comes into the book. And so we get to hear it over and over again.
It's like a slow drip, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess if you're not reading the tandem read, it hits different.
That's
I also wonder. Like, I genuinely wonder, what do you think of this? I mean, you and me have never read, we've only read the tandem read.
right.
How would you feel reading Tower of Dawn first and Empire of Storm second, if you were to read them?
Yeah, well, that's the way it's supposed to be read.
Is it? No, I think Tower of Dawn is, I think Empire of Storm comes out first.
Right. Is it? Okay, well, now I can't forget.
Here, let me look it up.
But that's what I was saying earlier, is that's how I would have, I guess if that's not publication order, that's how I would read it. Is because then you have Empire Storms and can just go straight into Kingdom of Ash.
Yep, Empire Storms 2016, Tower of Dawn 2017.
Got it. Okay. Then I had that flipped in my head, and yes, I would prefer the other order.
Well, that's why I said I think the tandem read is better, because the cliffhanger that Empire Storms hangs on,
right?
You then have to read a whole 700-page book about literally nobody in that book, in Empire Storms,
right?
To get back to that. But I think if I were to read them, not as a tandem, I think I might have to read Tower of Dawn first.
Yeah.
And then Empire Storm second.
Okay, well, in a couple of years, when we come back for a third reading of Throne of Glass, we can attempt that instead.
Yep.
Okay, chapter 23. Also, we are not talking about what's happening in these chapters at all. We do learn that Kale sleeps naked.
Is that what we learned? Oh, yeah.
Well, that's because she walks in and he's like naked in the bed, and then he repeats it again later.
We're not talking about what's happening in these chapters because nothing's happening.
I know. There's not much else
this is like,
back here.
Yeah, there's like, Amanda picked a good week to take off because there's not much going on here.
I know. We're going to lose our 7 new followers that we just gained.
Look, it's not our fault, everyone. I swear to God. We have things to talk about when things actually happen in the book. We're going through I love him. Do I love him? Part of the relationship type of thing. And we're on a ship, trying to get to the Muppet Rolf, and literally nothing is happening.
I'm a Muppet. Okay, chapter 23. Yrene dives back into Kale's wound, and it is not a spa day. The darkness has built a shell around him and is actively showing her his worst memories, including his father literally throwing him down icy stairs as a teenager like some kind of medieval rage dad. To fight it back, Yrene sacrifices her happiest memory, a golden afternoon with her mother in their Fen Harrow garden, teaching little Yrene the names of herbs, and the sheer joy, of it blasts the darkness back far enough that Kale wakes up to find he can feel his entire foot pressing into the couch cushions. They end up in the garden together. Yrene is silently crying as she tells him about what happened to her mother and how she ended up alone at 11 years old crossing a county at war, and it is emotionally devastating in the way that only SJM can arrange on a Tuesday.
I wonder if I made these notes on Tuesday.
Might have made these on a Tuesday.
Yeah, again, guys, nothing's happening.
Right. She's doing the healing thing. It's slowly working. So now he can feel his foot. And she was outside crying, and so he went out and saw her, and she explained her backstory.
Yeah, look, Amanda's not here to yell at me, but again, I hate this whole healing thing because it's like, he's not actually healing, it's therapy, and he's got to go over his trauma, and that's what makes his back feel better when he talks about it. I don't want to hear it. That's too deep for me. Just heal him.
Just heal him. Just make it happen.
Right?
I'm done.
But I did like the backstory into Irene's life growing up. We saw her mother. There was something else. Let's see. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Yrene keeps bringing up how she got over here to the tour. And, says she got some help from a mysterious female. That's another thing, actually. I had been thinking about this, and then I saw somebody actually post it on Reddit, like an alternate reading order to this series, where you don't read Assassin's Blade. You drop in the novellas at certain points in the read.
Oh, interesting.
Which I don't hate.
I don't hate that either. I think that's super smart.
Like, you would read, I think it's the last two novellas before Throne of Glass. So you skip the first three, and then you drop in Irene's story right before Tower of Dawn.
Yeah.
Which is I wouldn't mind reading that way next time.
Skull's Bay right before Empire of Storms.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, all that. That's actually kind of a cool way to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I had something else that I was going to add. I forgot. Okay, we are back to chapter 26 in Empire of Storms now. Dorian and Rowan have been stuck in Skull's Bay for 2 weeks, sweating through their clothes and getting stonewalled by Rolf, who has refused every meeting with the energy of someone who has seen some things and would prefer not to see more. Dorian spends his days getting brutalized by Rowan's training regime, while quietly piecing together that Erewhon's fleet had been cleverly split between the Gulf of Oro and Melisandre's ports, which is bad, extremely bad, and worrying about his little brother Holland and their useless mother, Queen Georgina, because apparently somebody has to.
Aww.
Fed up with waiting, Dorian hatches a scheme where he fakes shocking news via a letter Rowan mails to himself, performs visible distress for Rolf's spies, and gets a meeting within 3 hours, walking in to find a hooded woman already sitting in Rolf's chair, feet up, weapons gleaming, grinning like she owns the place.
Okay, this is where stuff actually starts to happen, and I'm like, okay, we're picking up. So my first question to you is, can you go back to the second sentence in this? Dorian spends his day getting brutalized by Rowan. You see that sentence?
Yes.
Isn't that regimen?
Yes.
Not regime?
Yep, I just read the wrong word.
I'm just asking. Is it one of those words that are spelled the same? I don't know how they're spelled.
I know, now I'm like, how do you spell regime?
And she's looking it up, guys. So we're trying to see if regime and regimen are spelled the same way.
No.
Okay.
Regime. There,
so it's just an N. This is why I hate English. English is stupid. Let's see.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is, I think your notes haven't said it here, but like, this is girl boss energy at the end of this chapter, where we walk in and Ailen is completely back in Selena persona here, and is just like being a badass, and I really like it.
Yeah, she's just. I actually wasn't expecting her there. I even leading up to that, I love a good scheme. So I really liked how Dorian was like, I'm gonna write this letter to myself, and I'm gonna play off that I got a crazy letter. So that was fun. That's fun. I like.
Right.
Oh,
We
she's
learned all this news that's going to be so important, and Rolf, it's going to change the trajectory of him and his crew.
yeah.
I like it a lot too.
So yep, Aelin's there waiting, and I'm like, oh, shit's about to pick up.
Right. Shit's about to pick up, and then we go right back to Tower of Dawn.
Yep, because yep.
Chapter 24. Nesryn opens this chapter with, she knew, quote unquote. 2 words doing the heaviest lifting in the entire book. Fully aware that Kale is emotionally checked out and has been treating her as a placeholder, and she is done. So when Prince Sartok, which still in my head I read as Sadok, but Prince Sartok, Prince Sky, casually mentions he's leaving in an hour for the Tavin Mountains to investigate Volk history among the Rukin. Investigate Volk history among the Rukin, and would she like to come? Nesryn, absolute girl boss, no hesitation,
Absolutely.
writes notes, leaving one for Kale that says essentially, I owe you nothing, bye, and climbs onto a giant warbird with a handsome prince into the open sky. They camp in the mountains that night eating cured meat, and Sartok reveals his spies have been calling her Neith's arrow like she's already a legend. And honestly, she earned every syllable.
So at this point, so it's, I actually so now I know why it's hard to talk about it because we've read this,
Yeah.
so I can't really ask you questions. But I guess I could ask you questions, and we could pretend like we didn't know anything. We don't know what's going to happen. So at this point in the book, are we feeling like it's going to be Kale and Yrene, and are we feeling like these two are going to maybe hook up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big absolute. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, yeah, the Kale Yrene thing has been. No, I'm saying Yrene. Kale Yrene. They're setting that up for chapters.
Okay.
Like, what's happening with the whole healing thing? They're getting too close. The lines are being blurred. Blah blah blah. Like, clearly they are endgame here. And then now we're giving Nesryn a chance to become really her own character. And the sparks are flying also here.
So I remember reading this the first time. So a little. I'm not spoiling the story. Just spoiling my feelings about this separation of characters. And I actually mentioned earlier, like my ebb and flow. It's at this point that I feel that the most bored I am for the rest of this book is Nesryn and Sartok.
Interesting.
They get action later, and I'm still bored with that.
Okay.
Maybe it's because Sartok's a duly introduced character in this. I don't know. But their little side adventure is my least favorite in this tandem read.
I like the introduction of the Ruckin. Like, I find, and we're going to get to this in a couple chapters here, but sort of the continued expansion of the world building is really interesting to me. So I appreciate that, and it's like such a distinct culture from so much else of what we've read within Throne of Glass so far, and so I find that to be a little bit of a breath of fresh air. But I think my problem with Sartok is that, like, he's too good, but he's actually too good. Because, he doesn't turn. Like, he's just a good guy. So there's not a lot of depth to him, I think is where I'm going with that. And so I like him, but I'm just kind of like, yeah, you're kind of like Melba Toast, here you are.
I do like the world building. That is good. But world building is often, to me, for me, whenever I'm reading a book, world building in the terms of like expanding the world and not lore. Lore I like backstory I love, but like this type of world building is always, I find, the most boring part of a book, when you're like learning the whole new thing of a new place and the new people. I liked it here, especially it's later, but like the Kagan it multiple times is expressed as like the strongest human in the world, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of crazy because for a long time we were pretty much led to believe that the king was
Right.
that, but this dude like would shit on the king.
Yeah. Um, I think it's interesting that you don't necessarily like the physical or like sociology world building, because that shit's my favorite.
Hmm.
Like I love, and one of my favorite things about WoW is just like running around new areas, and I just really like being able to like picture what the world looks like in my head. I love a map, really love a map.
We
So
went
yeah,
we what was the panel we went to? Like they were like, why do people love maps? When we
right,
went to Comic Con, Rachel Gilligan Co. were like, why do people love maps? Why do you people want a map in the book?
right. I want a map.
But
I
see,
want to
like
make the maps. I love that.
stuff like WoW, like and that, like even I'm going back to my favorite book of last year. Well, whatever. I name it doesn't matter. Night in the Moth. Like I like it.
Right.
I like it drip fed to me. You know, like
Yeah.
moving from one place to the next, learning about it. But this is like a whole new book of a
Yeah.
whole new things. This is the first 40% of Crescent City.
That is true.
So
Even though that's just all lore,
yeah.
um, and political systems and that kind of stuff. Okay, back at it. We are back in Empire of Storms in chapter 27. That woman in Rolf's chair is,
Dum dum
of
dum dum
course,
dum 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 dum.
Aileen, playing the role of Selena and absolutely eating it up. She
Row
flirts with
is
Rowan.
salmon stuff. You
Why are
said
we talking
row.
about Rolf?
You said playing the row.
Oh my god. Okay, guys, I'm not great at reading. Is what you're learning from this. Okay, she's playing the role of Selena and absolutely eating it up. She flirts with Rowan to his face, steals emeralds, including one she hid under her tongue, and behaves like someone who was told she had a death sentence in the city and took it as a personal challenge. The whole scene escalates when Rolf offers the cadre a deal to kill Ailen for her ships. Bold strategy, does not work. And then Aileen whistles and introduces the Queen of Terrasen, who walks in as a second Aileen because Lysandra has been playing decoy the entire time. Even Fenris and Gabrielle are visibly shaken by the shifter's reveal. Rolf looks like he wants to throw himself into the harbor, and the real Aileen tosses a sealed tube in the air and announces it's time to talk about his little business of refusing to aid her cause. Because she did not sail through enemy waters to be ignored by a pirate in a faded jacket.
This is a great chapter. I like this.
Chapter.
And circling back to when you were like, I don't read well. Why am I not reading everybody? Because last week Kim says, and I quote, I don't like it when you read. So I am off reading duty forever.
Okay, well, that was taken out of context.
I'll go back to the tape and give you the exact quote, which was, I don't like it when you read.
Like I said, that was taken out of context.
But this is great. This is fun. I liked like Rolf seemed like an actual Muppet here when it's like, wait, she's Selena. She's like eyes bulging out of his head, like not understanding.
Right. Well, it's like they're pulling out all of their favorite tricks here.
Yeah,
Aelin is playing her Selena persona, which is always like super fun to like watch her be like cocky and ridiculous. And then like Lysandra gets to be the girl boss shifter that she is, and like fool everybody. And yeah, I think that this is really well done.
yeah.
It feels like we're seeing all of our favorites doing their fun favorite things. Okay, chapter 28. Aelin and Rowan have their reunion moment, and she kisses him in front of everyone like the public menace she is. But the real business is the war council that follows. Adarlan's fleet is hiding in the Gulf of Oro. Maeve's armada is sailing for Elway, and nobody knows whose side anyone is actually on. Rolf gets offered the title of Pirate King, backed by a letter from Murtagh, which he throws in the bin like a man who hates winning, and the negotiation ends with him giving them 2 days to get off his island. The back half belongs to Gabriel, who demands to know where his son Ailen is. Aelin plays dumb long enough for Lysandra to quietly vanish out a window to warn him, then drops the coldest possible, don't ever give me orders, and walks away. before sharing a surprisingly tender moment with Dorian about Rifthold and making a joke about Rowan's dull, immortal life loud enough that he absolutely hears it from the balcony above. Okay, here's my one piece of feedback for Claude.
Mm-hmm.
Man, these are long sentences.
Long sentences?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I gave it so last week I thought our notes were long. So I gave it the prompt to summarize them in 100 to 130 words.
Oh, nice.
And I guess in order to do that, it just made everything one sentence. Yeah, so at this point I'm like, everyone be fighting. Like
right.
we're fighting Erewhon. Whose side is Mavon? What's going on? Everybody be fighting.
I find it kind of funny because it feels like every war council that Aelin walks into, she doesn't win. This is like when she met with the lords from Terrasen, and they were like, haha, nope, we don't like you. And then this one also, where Rolf is like, nope, still bye, still get out of here. So
there is. Hold on a second. Is it here? I want to say it now. I'm scrolling up a little bit. I think that it sort of missed something. Sorry, I'm scrolling ahead to our notes. Did they talk yet about the secret army of warship people with the sea dragons? Is that here?
So they have mentioned the fact that there are bad creatures on the far end of Skulls Bay in the island chain.
No.
And that there used to be sea wyverns.
That's not what I'm thinking of. What I'm thinking of is the the group. I can't remember their name. If I had their name off the top of my head, it'd be easier. The group of people that sailed the seas with their sea dragons. And right. Did they talk about those people yet? Is that here where they talk about it with Rolf?
It's briefly mentioned, but it's only mentioned in the context that the edge of the islands are now bad, but it used to be the ancestral home of those people.
And we've seen
it was mentioned in Ilium also, so it was mentioned when they were
there's a chapter here where Selena basically looks at Rolf and is like, your tavern is named the Sea Dragon.
Yes.
I just don't remember if it was here. And then she talks more about that. So that has to happen probably at the end of these chapters, so I'll bring it up later.
Okay. In these chapters, or spoiler for people reading along at home, if it's in the next set of chapter, which Rick has already also
It can't be. It can't be. All right, go ahead.
Okay, chapter 29. Ailen and Lysandra are planted in a back alley of Skulls Bay, running a decoy operation. Lysandra is wearing the Amulet of Orinth as bait, Ailen playing her very unconvincing paying customer, while Rolf's map theoretically lights up at the presence of a word key adjacent object. Dorian shows up to check in. Ailen is rude to him, and Lysandra immediately shuts it down with surgical precision. Dorian was enslaved, violated, and traumatized against his will, and hiding behind rank to avoid being wrong is pathetic. Ailen folds entirely, as he should. The chapter closes with the two of them in charged almost something territory that both immediately panic and back away from. Just as Rolf's barmaid scout clocks the alley and leaves, confirming that the map babe is working.
Yeah, so I think for me all we got here was Ailen and Lysandra getting closer. And I think we're going to see,
This is all the development and exposition here in these chapters.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll see where
that goes.
This is where everybody be hooking up. Everybody's pairing
not
off.
Yet.
Everybody's pairing off.
Everybody's making eyes at each other.
Right. This is we're at the spring dance in junior year in high school, and you're just looking at somebody from across, and you're like, nobody's dancing on the dance floor, and you make your way up to someone. Should we dance? You know?
Are we going to dance? Are we not going to dance?
Right.
Yeah. You're in 5th grade, sending the note to your crush, being like, "Do you like me? Check yes or no."
Right.
That's where we're at. Okay, chapter 25, back in Tower of Dawn. Kale and Yrene head to the Torre library. Tour the Torre.
I call it Tori. I could be 100% wrong because I don't be reading well, but you are the reader.
Jamie, feel free to weigh in, as always.
You know what? I'm going to pull it up right now. Go ahead.
Kale and Yrene head to the Torre library, sure, on a lore hunting mission, navigating the stacks with the terrifying head librarian, Lausha, who radiates the energy of someone who has never tolerated a single thing in her life and is not about to start now. The big reveal lands here. The old king of Adarlan wasn't just a monster, he was Valg possessed for decades, and his suppression of magic and execution of magic wielders was his still fighting inner self trying to keep the Valg from gaining more hosts, which is something both tragic and horrifying in equal measure. Kale tells Yrene her healing magic is likely something the Valg specifically wanted to suppress or acquire, which raises the stakes on everything. While back in the mountains, Nesryn and Sartok watched the same stars with the unmistakable energy of two people who are absolutely going to fall in love, whether they're ready for it or not. So yes, this is, again, Kale is filling Yrene in on all of the backstory and lore, so we're getting to learn about it for the 15th time now. And yeah, Nesryn and Sartok are having their cute moment.
The one thing, and it did bring it up here, which is, you know, big question marks that, and I'll just read it directly from my notes. That Kale tells Yrene that her healing magic is likely something the Valg wanted to suppress or acquire, which is big question marks. Why? What's going on? And I have read this, and I have more ahead in our reading, but yeah, it is interesting. Like, Yrene is specifically the one being targeted to be killed. What's going on? Like, why?
Yeah, why does that matter so much? Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Okay, so it says the pronunciation of the word Tore, meaning tower in Spanish and Italian, depends slightly on the language, though both are very similar. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this, but Spanish pronounced. All right, you are a worder. Ready? Capital TOH. Line. RREH. It features a sharp tap or trill on the double R sound.
Right. Torre.
So is it Torre? Italian. Pronounced TOHR. Capital TOHR dash REH. The T is crisp. The O is slightly more open. And the double R is Torre. Torre? Torre.
Yeah, okay.
Torre.
We're going with Torre. Torre. Sorry for all the actual Italians who are listening.
I'm an Italian who's speaking. So
Italian American.
Look, as I've said before in the past, everyone knows that real Italians are from Brooklyn, New York.
That is true. So Brooklyn.
That's right.
Okay, chapter 26. Kale comes home to find Nesryn's goodbye note and proceeds to have a full silent breakdown, which Yrene walks into like she's clocking in for a shift, only to find him cold, flat, and in full emotional lockdown. Wait, did I say the same word twice? God, this is like totally messing me up. Amanda, I appreciate you and your reading. Come back.
But see, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I hate your reading, Kim. You should never read again. I would never do that to somebody. That would make them feel really bad.
That would be really, really mean to say that.
I know.
Why would you ever do that? Okay, Yrene tries to get Kale to talk. He refuses. She makes him do sit-ups for 45 minutes anyway. And when she finally asks how it feels to no longer be able to use exercise as his emotional coping mechanism, he tells her to get out with barely restrained fury. And then she finds out from Hasar that Nesryn flew off with Sartok yesterday, and the whole chapter suddenly clicks into place. Yrene, instead of going back to him, channels her restless energy into the city slums because that is simply who she is as a person, and we respect it.
I don't think she makes him do sit-ups for 45 minutes. I think he does the sit-ups for 45 minutes, and she watches him. And she's like, are you done yet?
She's holding his feet and such.
Oh, okay.
And so he's doing sit-ups, and then he's doing Supermans. And then she's like, okay, you got to stop because you're going to, like, blow out your back. And he's like, fuck you, basically.
Again, this is the whole therapy healing session.
Yeah. But I feel for her because they had this like really nice night at the Torre and we're like getting all close and bonding some more. And so like Yrene walks in being like, I like this guy and it seems like he likes me back. And then he is just like, boom, completely shut down.
Therapy
And
session.
that's hard. That's hard when that happens. Chapter 27. Yrene heals 6 people in the slums, including a 16-year-old girl with cracked ribs and a handprint-shaped bruise. She heals everything beneath the skin, but leaves the outer bruise visible so the girl won't be in any more danger going home.
That's so
And
sad.
quietly, I know, this was sad, quietly tells her the Torre will always take her in with no questions asked, which is the most quietly devastating act of competence in this entire series. On her way back to the palace, Yrene is followed by something in the dark, a Vogue demon hissing her name through doorways, and she sprints for Kale's suite, nearly sobbing getting the lock closed, until he steadies her with both hands on her face and tells her that they will face this together, which is the most romantic thing that has ever happened in the middle of a demon attack. The guards arrive just in time, the creature vanishes, and Yrene and Kale are left alive, breathing, and absolutely not ready to examine what together meant in that moment.
I was laughing because I could just like I remember this part, and Irene's running, and this big whatever. We don't know. We actually didn't see it. So
Yeah, we didn't see
something
it.
is chasing her, right? We think it's a Vogue. Um, So there's this big creature. She comes in, slams the door, and then right now in my head, I'm picturing like squeaking, and like Kale just rolling in on his little chair, trying to do something, but he can't because he's in a chair. Like, let me protect you. I'm like, what, Kale? You're in a chair. You're not going to kill a Vogue.
Right. No, actually, I like this chapter a lot.
No, this is great. I just was
I
laughing
think
right
she
now.
like, yeah, I think she like sets up SJM sets up like the drama of this moment really well. And so yeah, like Yrene's being chased, and then like they are trapped in his bedroom with this creature like coming for them. And just like the absolute terror of that feels really real. And I
She
do think it's like sweet because he's like, I'm going to try to buy you as much time as I can. So like, if this thing breaks through that door, you are getting out of here. You are running. And then he's quietly trying to remind her of how to angle a dagger and reminding her of her training of like go for the eyes and the groin, and then go for all the sensitive spots. And I thought it was good.
There's something, speaking of things that SJM does well, one of the things I like about her writing is this, and we'll see it maybe in the next book, maybe later in this book, but like, I guess I wouldn't call it like diversions, and here's what I mean by that. The way that she writes, like, let's go back to Astrid when Manon's about to kill Astrid, right? The things that Astrid says are like, don't forget me, and like do this for this, and make sure, and like bury me in the woods, right? Like,
Right, bring me back to the cabin.
right.
Yeah.
Those things, traditionally, when those words are said, that's like you're gonna die.
The bad thing happens. Yeah.
But SJM doesn't do that,
Right.
which I like. Like, she sets it up as a death, and then doesn't go that way, which is very refreshing. So like you said, like
she's setting up for the devastation.
Right.
So you're like feeling the devastation, and then boom, plot twist.
Right. So like you said, the tension is like she writes tension very well.
Yeah. Chapter 28. Prince Cashin arrives and immediately deploys half the palace guard like he's staging a military coup just to impress her. Sir, read the room, says Kale. Or says Claude, excuse me. Kale, stuck in his chair and painfully aware that he was approximately zero threat to a Vogue demon, had already mentally committed to throwing his dagger as a last resort, which is the most genuinely heartbreaking, I'm doing my best energy this book has seen. When Cashin offers to escort Yrene back to the Torre and she says she feels safer staying with Kale, the man is absolutely unraveling on the inside while maintaining a perfect poker face. By dawn, Kale has threatened the palace guard's skeletal integrity and dragged himself to the training courtyards to learn an entirely new fighting style from Hashim, because nothing says I have feelings I'm not ready to examine like 6 hours of sword drills.
I got nothing.
I know, and Cashin just gets like shat on constantly.
He really does, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think he's
And
done
I
anything
like
wrong.
I feel for him.
Me
What's
too.
that?
He doesn't do anything wrong. He seems like a
Not
good guy.
anything wrong. Right. He seems like a perfectly
Which
I
is
mean both him and Sartok are just like generally seems like kind of good guys.
she's just not into him, which is fine, you know.
I know. It's totally fine.
But the way that he has to take it, where it's like, I'm gonna stay here. I feel safer with him, and he's like, What do I got to do? What do I have to do?
He's like, girl, I have tried everything.
I have been with you forever. I've been so nice to you. Am I ugly? Like,
right? Is that what we're missing here? Right.
I don't know.
Okay. Empire Storms, Chapter 30. Aelin and Lorcan have been trudging across muddy plains for 2 weeks with a traveling carnival, playing fake married couple, and treating Morath intelligent like it's couples therapy, but worse. Aelin finally hits her limit when Lorcan pushes too hard for dungeon details, tells him to figure it out himself, and walks away from an immortal Fey warrior who could snap her in half, and somehow wins the standoff without blinking. The gut punch comes at the end. Lorcan fetches her a bath, food, and dry clothing without being asked, and Aelin volunteers the most devastating information yet. Her uncle Vernon brought her to Morath specifically to breed her bloodline with the Vogue. Others before her weren't so lucky, and the explosion that destroyed the catacombs was very much not accidental. Before shutting the whole conversation down with one sentence, when you killed my uncle, ask him yourself. Yeah, so again, don't really care about the carnival at all. And I did like the end of this chapter, though, where they do have this moment where she tells him about Vernon. Yeah, and he asked, what was the question that led to that line? I think it was when he asked about the chain.
The chain. That was I was gonna say it was he's asking her about like the bruises and he sees like the
well, because she said to him, my ankle and the chain happened far earlier than Morath.
Right. He said chain or chains or something like that, and he's like, chains plural?
Right.
What do you mean?
He realized that she did have scars from the chains on her legs also. And so that's, and when you kill my uncle, ask him yourself. Was her answer. Which, ugh. This girl's seen some shit.
She sure has.
Okay, back to Tower of Dawn. Chapter 29. Nesryn and Sartok get absolutely destroyed by a mountain storm in the Asamil Mountains, huddled behind Kadara like she's a very large feathery windbreaker, and Nesryn spends the entire time reconsidering every life choice that led her here. They finally make it to the Yrene Eyrie, a breathtaking city carved into 3 mountain peaks called the Dorgos, where they are immediately roasted by Borta. Who was saying Borta?
Oh, interesting. I've called her Bort, but we can call Borta. That's fine.
Let's call her Borta so she doesn't rhyme with Mort. They're immediately roasted by Borta, Sartok's hearth sister, who has the energy of someone who failed the vibe check and chose violence instead. Nesryn wins Borta over by immediately clowning on Sartok in front of everyone. Sorry. Because sometimes diplomacy is just knowing when to throw your travel companion under the bus. The chapter closes with the reveal that Sartok sent word ahead that she was coming, which is somehow the most romantic thing he's done so far.
See, he's a good guy. And I like Borta. Like, she's pretty fun. She's like, I don't know. She gives off like younger sibling vibe.
Yeah.
And then she like is friends with Nesryn pretty quickly. She's cool. I like her.
She's a little bit of our like comic relief in this section.
Yeah. Right.
Because she's just able to like, crap on everybody, but in a fun-loving way.
Right. She's good. She was a nice new character that was introduced.
Okay, chapter 30. Nesryn, not Yrene, not Ailen, I guess that matters to Claude, but Nesryn, standing on a windswept mountain summit in borrowed boots, fires 9 perfectly grouped arrows across 3 dummies at heart, neck, and head simultaneously, stopping every single training ring in the Yrene Eyrie dead silent. And it is a full girl boss moment, no notes.
I think what they're saying is like, we're used to Aelin, doing some fucking crazy shit, but like Nesryn is an insanely skilled archer.
Yeah,
And
really. She's also like she's a badass in her own right.
right, and what's the name? Sartok even like you mentioned it earlier when he's like, I heard you were the one who made that impossible shot to save Lysandra.
Right. And they're calling her Neith's arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The chapter is a slow burn competence flex wrapped in a tour of Rokal, the interior peak of the Dorgos, which sounds like the most epic fantasy real estate that has ever existed, while Sartok spends the whole thing being low-key smitten before just flat out telling Nesryn that she's beautiful at the worst and best moment possible. They return to find the Hearth Mother and storekeeper Howlin
Sure.
arrived and is sitting suspiciously close to mystery merchant Falcon NR, which is never ever a good sign.
Well, reading's not easy, is it? Especially when you try to read with some fun and oomph to make everyone want to enjoy what you're hearing. Is it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So we have a new character, Falcon
Yeah.
NR. Don't know who this guy is yet, but he's here. And this is what I mean. I'm bored. This is more world building of this new little area. And I'm like, okay, there's birds. All right. Okay, what's next? I don't know. Maybe if it wasn't book 7, maybe if I wasn't 600-page books in, I don't want to learn about a new place and a new thing. So that's just me.
Yeah. I do like the training montage though in this chapter. So I do appreciate that Nesryn gets to have her moment of being like, again, she's being developed as a character in her own right here.
That's what this book, right? This book is. I was going to say it. No, I was going to say it earlier. Now you reminded me, which is good. This book, I mean, it is obviously Nesryn and Kale's, like more of Kale's redemption arc, but like we learn about these two as characters. It fleshes them out more. So I'm really interested. She probably has said this, but like I'm really interested in SJM's thought process going into this book, as in like when we left them in Heir of Fire, we we're like, okay, Nesryn and Kale, though that's the pair. So I'm like wondering like at what point, or did she never intend them to be together? It seemed like she did, like Kale mentions it at some point, but in this book, but like one of their last things, like the last thing I think he says to her in Heir of Fire is like, Nesryn, let's go on an adventure together, which is setting them up together. So like, at what point did SJM be like, nah, not you two?
Yeah, but she followed a similar pattern in the first book with Selena and Dorian versus Selena and Kale. So I think it's kind of a trope that she likes. Is like, will they, won't they sort of pairings.
Okay, I can get with that, yeah.
Yeah, and Kale reflects on that idea of the adventure multiple times in these chapters also. Yeah. He's like, I promised her an adventure.
Yeah.
And I didn't give it to her. Like, yeah, she gets to go off and do her own thing. Okay, chapter 31 of Tower of Dawn. Falcon drops the bombshell that he personally bartered with the Stygian spiders 3 years ago, trading 20 years from the prime of his life for 100 yards of spider silk.
We know this guy.
This man who looks nearly 50 is actually 27, and the silk was apparently worth it to him, which says everything about his priorities. Howlin reveals the Karankui, the spider monsters stealing ruck eggs from the Dagul Fell's nests, are not just feral wildlife, but Volg who slipped through a word gate that opened in these very mountains long ago and simply never left, before proceeding to narrate the entire ancient Volg war like a campfire legend while a storm rages outside. Nesryn sits there trying not to vibrate out of her skin because she knows about the word keys and cannot say a single word, and the chapter ends with Howlin warmly pointing them towards a ruined Fey watchtower half a day's flight away, noting that everyone who's gone in to explore has not come back. So, good luck.
This is stuff I like. So Falcon is that dude we met from Assassin's Blade way back when.
Way back.
So I love that he's brought back.
Yeah.
You know, he seemed like a throwaway character in Assassin's Blade, and he's here again. So I'm like, all right, cool. We got a friend. We know you. So that was great. I loved learning that the Stygian spiders are actually Volg. You know, I'm here for stuff like that. This was good lore dump. This is
Yeah,
what I'm talking about.
this is the lore coming together,
Right.
and I like that. I like, you know, we're getting all these pieces from like what each character knows of the lore, and now the puzzle pieces are starting to link.
Yeah.
So that's
And
cool.
that's okay. That is a good thing about this book. You know, like you just said, the puzzle pieces are starting to fit together. They're in another world, not another world. They're in another continent, and they still have Volg there.
Right.
You know, so like, what's going on? Like, why is everything connected? This is juicy. This Rick likes.
I feel right now like we are the two Muppets in the theater, because we started this episode being like, I hate this book. It's terrible. And then we're like, it's not so bad. It's okay. And then we're like, actually, I love it.
Well, nothing happened. Nothing is happening.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening. Nothing has happened yet in this book. Okay? Or these set of chapters. We're learning a lot of things, but nothing is really happening. You know?
We are learning. Okay.
These chapters are school.
These chapters are school. We have been schooled. Empire Storms, Chapter 31. Aelin reveals the full picture of the Amulet of Orinth bait operation. It was a test to confirm Rolf's map actually works and that he's terrified of the Volg. And she let Ailen and Lysandra believe it was simpler than that, which is classic Aelin behavior, and everyone in this series should know better by now. She and Rowan break into Gabriel and Fenris's room through the window for a midnight interrogation about Maeve's fleet and Blood Oath mechanics, and Fenris, chaotic, gorgeous, and deeply annoying, reveals that Maeve offered fire lances through Rolf, a weapon one person can wield to devastating effect, which is basically Aelin's dream present wrapped in a geopolitical nightmare. The chapter ends on a Skull's Bay rooftop, where Aelin voices her fear that they're playing a game against rulers who have been scheming for centuries, and Rowan tells her he would have fought every day of his immortal life to find his way back to her. Before they make out against a chimney in the moonlight, and she asks him about his no trees on the first time rule, because of course she does. No trees on the first time?
Yeah, he had been wanting to like have soup with her. Right. Or no, she had been wanting to have soup with him, and he's like, I'm not gonna have soup with you on a tree for our first time.
Right.
I will bed you like a proper lady.
Right.
Again, nothing is happening. Can you explain to me this whole Rolf's map, hand, and amulet situation? Because I think I was confused when I was reading that.
Yeah. So
I know what his hand is. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
And all the things that are moving are showing like enemies. Yeah. Enemies and treasure and all that sort of stuff. And so the Amulet of Orinth, being a Volg adjacent item, is like an enemy. And so he's able to see that there's something Volg related. She
was asking him for that?
No, she was testing whether he was able to see Volg things as part of his map.
Oh,
and so the fact that he sent someone to be like, what is this thing out there? Is it Volg? Proved that, yes, his map can show Volg stuff, which is important because she was supposed to go find the lock.
Right.
So they need to know whether he can see Volg crap like the lock.
All right, cool. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Those are our set of chapters.
We did it, Joe. We did it.
I can't ask you what happens next because you know what will happen next.
I do kind of know what happens next.
Have you been reading anything else?
I have not read a single other thing. For those of you who follow us who do not work with us, this was our graduation week. And so it was really busy and hectic. And also, I've been super sick. So, no, I haven't read anything else. I'm going to keep reading these chapters today. I really do think right now my goal, kind of like what you had said, is just to get this tandem read done, and then I'll turn my attention to other fun summary things.
Yeah, similarly, this is the only thing I've been reading. It's taking me longer than I was hoping to finish this. I should have finished this book. I should have realistically finished this tandem book probably last week, maybe Monday, about a week ago. But like you said, we've been really busy with work. I haven't just had the energy to read more than like chunks at a time, like 15, 20 minutes. But I even should have finished this weekend. But I won't finish today. I should have finished today, but I won't. But it's okay. But I learned how to do a Rubik's Cube. So that's
That is true.
that's what I did. I learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube.
Guys, Rick spent like 3 full days of work teaching himself how to solve the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, it was great.
Do you want to explain why you weren't able to solve it the first time around?
Yeah, so the most frustrating part is like I'm watching this video and like for all of you people who I work with, not the people who are listening, listeners, I love you. People who I work with, you're questionable. For all of you people who I work with who've been like, oh, you can't do this, it's just an algorithm. Fuck out of here. It is not just an algorithm. It's like 3 different algorithms, and you need to know when to use them. That's number 1. So number 2. So I'm watching these videos. I'm learning. Specifically on Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it was. It was Wednesday. I'm watching this. I'm like working on this cube for 4 to 5 hours, and I keep getting to the last step, and I do what I'm supposed to do, and it fails, and I don't understand why. Yada 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 yada. I take a picture of once I get to the last step for the 10th time. I take a picture of the cube and I upload it to AI, and I'm like, can you just tell me what I'm doing wrong? And it was like, you're actually not doing anything wrong. Someone has twisted the corners. So basically on a Rubik's Cube, you can take a corner, you can twist it, either accidentally or inadvertently. And when I say accidentally, I mean like purposely. And come to find out, we did have a student last week in the room who was fidgeting with the cube and twisted the corners. And made me lose at minimum 3 hours of my life.
And I probably should have realized that that's what happened because the student spent like the entire 45 minutes of our meeting fidgeting with the Rubik's Cube and trying to pull off all of the things before we Googled it and realized that you actually can't pull them off on a Rubik's Cube branded Rubik's Cube. But no, he did show me that he could twist the corners, and so I should have realized that he probably had twisted one the wrong way.
He sure did. He sure did. But it's okay. I can now solve a Rubik's Cube, which is great.
Can now do it in 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Actually, I got down to 2.5 minutes now.
2.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
We're trying to see if we can break that. All right, what's our homework? It looks like it's this. Our homework's okay. If you Google Tower of Dawn and Empire Storm's Tandem read, you will find all of these reading orders. So if you want to follow along with us, we are going to be reading Tower of Dawn chapters 32 through Empire of Storms chapter 51. Doesn't make sense, but if you pull up that thing, you'll be able to see. Start with Tower of Dawn chapter 32 and finish with Empire of Storms chapter 51. And we'll find out what happens next.
Awesome.
Alrighty.
Okay. Thanks, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Oh, look at that.